I'm Jesse McAnally.
And I am Andrew DeWolf.
And I'm Brianna Jones.
And welcome to Musicals with Cheese, a podcast where I try to get Andrew to like musical theater. And today, Andrew, we have a super special guest.
A very special guest.
A very special guest, a first-timer. It's been a while since we had a brand new guest. Today, we have the ultra-talented, wonderful James from Schaffrillas.
Hey everyone, it's me, James from Schaffrillas.
Bree put a bunch of applause right here. Everyone's cheering. Oh God.
Whoa, thank you everyone that I can hear right now.
Yeah,
oh my God.
Yeah,
amazing.
there they are. Yeah, standing ovation.
Wow, thank you all. Wow, amazing.
All right, and you chose what we're talking about today. So James, I'm making
This is your fault.
This is your fault we had to talk about it.
Oh no, my bad.
And if anyone doesn't like this episode, just blame James.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm sorry. I'll take all the blame.
Send
it's all on me.
all hate to his comment section.
You can bury me alive if you need to for this.
I see what you did there.
Yep. So, so today's episode's about Aida.
Cue the music!
Oh, now I believe in looking like my time on earth is cooking, whether polka dotted, striped, or even checked. With some glamour guaranteeing every fiber of my being is displayed to quite remarkable effect. From your cradle via trousseau to your deathbed, you're on view. So never compromise, accept no substitute. I would rather wear a barrel than conservative apparel, for a dress has always been my strongest suit.
Aida is a musical, but with music by Elton John and lyrics by Tim Rice, based on Giuseppe Verdi's Italian-language opera of the same name, but this musical is actually based on a children's storybook version of Verdi's opera, written by Leontine Price. It premiered on Broadway on March 23rd of 2000. It ran for 1,852 performances, and making it the 39th longest-running Broadway show of all time, which it still holds. It closed on September 4th of 2004. It was nominated for 5 Tony Awards and won 4, including Best Original Score, named by Time as one of the 10 theater performances of the year, and the cast recording won the Grammy for Best Musical Show Album. The plot is about an enslaved Nubian princess, Aida, who finds her heart entangled with Radames. Did I say that right? Radames?
Radames, I think.
Radames? Anna Pascal, an Egyptian soldier who is betrothed to the pharaoh's daughter, Amneris. As their forbidden love blossoms, Aida is forced to weigh her heart against her responsibility that she faces as the leader of her people. All right. So, James, why'd you make us talk about this? I'm curious. This was the first show you thought of, and I was a little surprised, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, so this show, it's pretty nostalgic because I actually did it back in high school. In my junior year, I played the Pharaoh, so it has like that nostalgic connection to me. But I've also really, my opinion on this show has shifted over time. Like, I first saw it in freshman year. I wasn't a big fan of it. And then 2 years later, turns out, oh, we're doing it in our show. And I was like, oh, no. But then honestly, getting a part of it, like being a part of the show, not just watching it, we really like started to appreciate it a lot more and just really enjoy it. And to this day, I feel like not a lot of people really talk about this musical. So it's one I really wanted to talk about. Specifically, it's like... And the one thing, I just really want to rant about this real quick. I do not understand how this musical was nominated for like 5 Tonys. It won 4, including Best Score and Best Actress. Did not get a nomination for Best Musical. Like, I'm so baffled by that. And I never understood it. So I want to give it the recognition it deserves 20 years later on this podcast, and that will make up for its snub at the Tonys.
We're basically as prestigious as the Tonys at this point.
Yes. All right, perfect.
It reminds me of this Tony season, like as much of a Tony season you can have in 2020. Yeah. But the Lightning Thief, right? That is a musical. That is technically the only original musical to premiere on Broadway in the timeline. And literally it was not nominated, despite being the only musical with an original score. They
Talked
only
about
nominated
snubbed.
plays, so they
so
didn't
bad.
have to fucking nominate that.
Yep, I feel so bad. I wonder if Aaron Tveit's gonna win Best Actor. Like, oh no. Oh my god.
He's literally the only
crazy.
one nominated. Andrew.
Yeah. It's
Lightning
too bad
Thief.
no one else was able to be nominated. No one from any other shows was a lead actor, so oh well.
Wait, so what happened? Did the Lightning Thief just get like premiered in January or something, and then they just shut everything down?
It was December. It was December and then closed in January. It was a limited run. It was always supposed to be a limited run, but it was technically the only original musical that premiered within the guidelines.
Yeah, I heard it was like a pretty bad like production on Broadway. Like I actually saw it like the tour in Philadelphia, and I really enjoyed it there. But like I've heard that it just was not well suited for a Broadway stage. So
I mean,
I think just
kind
I
of
don't
is.
know.
A limited run is kind of
Yeah.
what that was meant for. As far as anything, I saw the tour when it was in Detroit, and I enjoyed it. It's a fun little show. I don't think it's like Broadway ready, but it's a fun show for kids to do. Just like Aida, back to the topic. I want Andrew to try to describe what this plot is, because he literally probably didn't know anything about the show beforehand.
No, I mean, I was talking with Jess as I was kind of watching it, and he was explaining some of what this actually is. I mean, the plot isn't that complicated. It's a love story between a slave and a slaver, essentially, or a soldier. They call him a soldier. He's more of a general in the army, it seems. And the slave, we find out, is actually the princess of the opposing faction. The two factions being Egypt, where the general is from, and they're enslaving the Nubians, which is the other faction. I assume this was like an actual war that happened. I don't know anything about Egyptian history.
I'm gonna bet that
it's so
Disney
good.
doesn't either,
Yeah.
considering the cast of people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So the princess is kind of like almost trying to lead some sort of uprising for her people in a way, but like not really. And then they both end up getting buried alive. After they fall in love, and the king of Egypt is like, no, that's not allowed, and then they get buried alive as an act of mercy. There's one other character I didn't mention, the princess of Egypt, who the Egyptian general is betrothed to, I suppose, and she's like kind of blown off by him after he falls for the slave woman, Aida. So, oops.
This is a messed up plot. Like, by any it's about a slaver that falls in love with his slave, which in and of itself is weird, but the specific casting decision to make all the Nubians black and all the Egyptians white,
It's like they wanted to tie it into like the North
American
Atlantic slave
histories
trade
and all that.
which makes it more uncomfortable. Not that slavery is ever good, because slavery is never good, of course.
Of course.
But adding the racialized element to it kind of like makes it hit closer to home in a way. It's like, ooh, I don't know
Which
about
is-
that.
why I find it interesting that, James, you said that this isn't getting love, but if the world had gone as normally as it should have without, the world shutting down, in 2021, in mere like weeks even, there would have been a new production of Aida on Broadway. They were going to do a revival in early 2021.
Oh wow. Yeah, I didn't even hear about that.
Well,
Well. Yeah.
we'll see if that happens.
Yeah. Well.
I don't think that's gonna happen. Yeah.
I mean, Disney does have unlimited money, but they made less money this year than they did last year, so
No. What a tragedy.
but I'm curious. Like, we brought up that slight, like, oh, that rings weird to me. How would we do this in modern times? Like, what would be the way to do this specific story in a way where it might ring a little bit more true, especially in these tumultuous times for everyone? And what do you think, James?
I just think, well, it would definitely be a good start to cast it like correctly, like ethnicity wise. Like it was, the casting for the original production was a little questionable. And yeah, I kind of agree. There's definitely, I think, stuff that needs to be reworked. Like, I think while it is like, obviously you gotta keep the love story between like Aida and Radames, I feel like making him like a little bit, I don't know, less mean to her early on, and like maybe changing his like motivations, maybe having him be against like slavery. Like it's definitely a very tricky needle to thread,
I think.
But yeah, I feel like I definitely got a sense, like rewatching it recently, that like maybe he's not really a character we should be like rooting for, especially like early on. But I feel like there's a way to like kind of rework that like early on part to make him like a better character, like one that you actually want to see these two kind of like fall in love.
I think you need to do, and this is obviously it's by Disney, and like kind of you could take elements like, how in like Pocahontas the guy character is kind of like not in favor of all the bad stuff that the nobleman is trying to do. You could just kind of do that here.
Yeah.
But, okay. I want to write this pitch to you. I think that we should actively make Aida a little bit more deceptive, because she is fairly deceptive in this. She like kind of uses this guy to meet her own needs.
Well, she doesn't tell him that that she's the princess, at least not for a long time.
Yeah, she like keeps that hidden from like everyone so she can survive.
Yeah, but I think that might be an interesting way of being like she's trying to get this upper crest and fool him into thinking that she's in love with him, like for like maybe a sneak in the army like she tried to do, or get her people out, use the wedding as a distraction. Those types of things I think show a little bit more of an active protagonist in Aida, and I feel like if we leaned into that more and more, that she is using remedies as a means to an end as opposed to like the love to end all loves. I feel like that's
how they portray it, because like
is.
Even the ending. Oh my goodness, the ending, like when they die, it's like that's like the seed that gives birth to peace across the world.
Yeah, that's very questionable, and like I don't get how that worked.
And no one was ever racist again.
Hooray! Yeah,
we did it. Like, we solved racism.
Oh man, we did it. Yeah, it's like they're leaning too heavily into like the Romeo and Juliet kind of mold in the end there, when it doesn't really apply. So it's like, yeah, I don't know where they got that from. But yeah, I feel like definitely early on, I feel like the romance between them sprouts up a little too like quickly and unnatural. Like, I'm not sure what exactly they see in each other aside from like the physical attraction. Like it definitely would need to be like altered a little bit so that they actually see
it. Almost
like,
feels like a power struggle. Like Radames kind of just likes Aida because she's feisty. And it's like, ooh, a slave that doesn't like being a slave? Ooh.
Yeah. I think it's actually like a line where he's like, yeah, no woman has ever gotten the better of me. And it's like, yeah, it's clearly, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe because you have him in chains.
No, it was like, no man has ever gotten the better of me, and one woman almost did. Ooh, cringe.
Yeah.
Oof. But the thing is, like, I love the idea of like a princess, like someone of her own nobility, being forced to get into chains and like having to like play that part and like use it to her advantage. I thought that was what I thought was the most important aspect of this. And yeah, there's some good Elton John love songs in here, but I like the political like terrorism side of it.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, it's like I really like once we get past the setup for the romance, like once it's actually like it gets going, I just really connect with like the songs, and I really get like emotionally invested in like what's going on with the plot and everything, and just like the romance they have, the betrayal and all that. So it's like it starts off a little bit like weak in my opinion, but then it just like by like the middle of the show, I really like enjoy it and I'm invested. and then the end is like question. It's like a quality like roller coaster. Like it starts off at the bottom, it goes up in like the middle, like end of Act 1,
just kind of drops back
and
down.
then it just kind of drops back down by the end. Like
I can
the
definitely
whole
see
setup
that.
for the ending is a little weird for me, but yeah.
We got to talk
right.
about the other princess character because that's kind of important.
Yeah.
Sherry Renee Scott.
What is this character's name?
Amneris.
Amneris. Okay. She's kind of like the villain, but like not quite.
The villain is racism. Or
Yeah.
No. The
You
villain
gotta
is
stop it.
slavery.
the villain
Yeah.
is Walt
Racism.
Disney.
Exactly.
I don't really. There needed to be kind of a stronger villain, I think, in this.
Oh yeah, I was thinking that on my most recent rewatch. I don't really like the villain in this at all. Like Radami's father. Like
Pharaoh.
I just think he doesn't. You don't really need him. Almost like
He doesn't
the Pharaoh
do
could just
anything.
be. Yeah, the Pharaoh could just be dying of natural causes, and the plot could be the same. So it's like I'm conflicted though because I like his second villain song a lot in Act 2, but like the first one is one of my least favorites in the show. It's so weird tonally, and it's like I don't really know about it. But
And that's coming from a man who played the Pharaoh himself.
Yeah, true. But yeah, I just wasn't feeling Zoser as a character. I don't know why. He's not even in it that much. He just shows up a couple times in like Act 1, and then out of nowhere he's back in Act 2. It's like, oh yeah, he exists.
He's there to like scare the kids. Like, there's a threat in the show,
Oh no, there's a scary guy. Everybody run.
and then it's like he doesn't do anything.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, pitch. Giant crab. Giant
Yes.
Egypt crab.
I think yes, the show would be much better if if Radami's father was literally just a giant crab. Like that totally makes sense.
Honestly,
that completely pans out.
I'm kind of feeling that.
Yes, it would all add up perfectly.
Scare the kids, you know?
What if we had the ending climax, instead of they get buried in a tomb, a giant crab and Sobek fight to the death?
I would honestly really enjoy that. Like, they should definitely just remake Aida with all these changes. Like, I think that would be...
Well,
that's
the revival is
perfect
put
way.
on hold for this, like for us to have this discussion.
Exactly.
They're
Now
waiting for our
Disney has-
feedback.
They have all these free ideas. They can just take them right now and just make something out of them.
They were looking for like Tony acclaim, but then we kind of started existing, and now they're like, how do we appease the cheese?
Yeah.
Exactly.
How do we get a perfect cheese rating out of these
Yes.
guys?
They're gonna get it. Don't worry. Just use all these ideas. They're free for the taking. Just
We
take
want
them.
more giant monster fighting. I want it to be that's cool. More like that.
There's not a Nazi hyena number. I thought you brought Elton John onto this.
Elton
for a specific
John
reason.
is known
Exactly.
for the Nazi hyenas.
Yeah, literally
If there's no
nothing.
Nazi
nothing but-
hyenas, then like, what's the point? Anyway. Man.
Ken,
All right.
I got a question. Who is the main character of this musical? I know the musical's called Aida, so you're thinking like it's Aida, but kind of our point of view central character is Ramades.
That's true. Yeah, Radames is definitely the one who like changes the most over the course of the story. Like Aida's mostly the same, so I guess that is a good point. I think they kind of like it's kind of focused on like both of them since it's like a romance story, but it is called Aida, so I definitely feel like making her like a stronger character and like giving her like more clear motivations would have been a good choice. So because
It's
as is,
difficult
a little bizarre.
to give
You see-
a character choice when they're a slave.
The thing
True.
is, I think she does have very clear motivations, which is to keep like her people come first in all forms. Like that is a motivation that is very clear and that her actions support. It's just that you don't quite understand that's what she's doing until a little too late in the show.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it's like there's that one number where she's like overwhelmed by like all her people like surrounding her, and she's just like kind of like she can't take the pressure of like being the ruler while they're all enslaved, and it's like that's a good like
That's a
plot
great
line
moment.
that it's great. I feel like they don't go far enough with that idea that like she's just overwhelmed by like all this like responsibility, but she's also enslaved. She wants to like hide. It's like that's something I really wish they would have developed more over the course of the show.
I mean, this is one of those musicals where I see the greatness in it. It just involves some very bone structural working around. And in the original drafts of this, because they basically did like 3 productions of this before they got their creative team involved, the current creative team. And then that one was leaning more comedy and more like an actual Disney movie. And this one, they were like, well, let's lean into the more darker stuff, lean into the romance and all that. And I feel like we need to meet in the middle somewhere, because right now this is just a little too dour, a little bit too much, and it makes the scenes where there are some like stylized things, like the princess's number about like the way that she dresses, which I think is a lot of fun. Yeah. And maybe if we had a moment or two more like that, it wouldn't stand out as like such a weird moment the way it does in the current production.
Yeah, that makes sense. I personally think Amneris's song is like good as it is, because it shows like the contrast, how she's like living this lavish lifestyle despite the fact that like Aida and all her people are enslaved. Like I think it is a good contrast, like showing how she's just like, she's so ignorant to like these people who are like in chains and everything. So I don't mind, and I think she has a lot of like really funny moments, like that moment where she wants Radames to come into her bedchamber. Like honestly, that was just hysterical in my opinion. It's just, I really enjoyed that. The comic relief that didn't really work for me was Merib. I just like, he felt too much like a traditional Disney sidekick, where it's like he's just saying all these like goofy things, and it's like, I don't know. I felt like the scenes where he just says like goofy things like weren't really the right time for them personally. Like, yeah, I don't know. It just, he to me felt a bit out of place, and I don't know. I just wasn't that into his character.
They went full Firefly from fucking Princess of the Frog with him.
Yeah, basically.
I feel like the whoever directed that movie just sat down and watched, just like, kill the comic relief. Wow, that'll really, really do it.
Yeah. The thing though is, in this, it's like they don't even have like a moment to mourn him. He's just dead. And
too late. We got to kill the other main character.
Yeah,
what are you talking about?
Exactly. It's weird. Like I feel like they should have maybe killed him sooner somehow. Like
they should have killed him.
I don't know.
Maybe the first time we see him.
I just wanted him out of the show.
Maybe
honestly.
We could, like, before he says any lines, just have him die. You know?
Yeah. I feel bad because one of my best friends played Merib in the production in high school. So Wyatt, if you're listening, I'm sorry. I wanted you to die earlier. So I'm sorry. I'm so sorry about that. But yeah, I wasn't a fan of Merib.
I don't blame you. I don't like. This show is a weird anomaly where it simultaneously feels very long, but also feels underdeveloped.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
I just want to take scissors to it and then paste in other shit.
There's a lot in here that can work, and I feel like I don't dislike this show necessarily. I was a little bit bored by it though, which isn't good. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was difficult for me to get into the romance because I kind of felt like it felt a little creepy with
it's grooming.
The way they set it up. And I feel like if they didn't set it up in the way that they did, the whole thing might feel stronger, like as a whole, essentially.
Yeah, no, I definitely understand that. Yeah, it's like that's quite similar to how I felt when I first saw the show. I was just like, I did not get invested in the romance. I didn't get I didn't really I was bored by a lot of it. But at the same time, over time, it just once I got past that, because it's when I watch something, it's I generally see a lot more stuff to like in the stuff I watch once I get past the way it was set up. And I feel like this musical is one of those cases where it's I'm really into just the romance, mostly because of the music. I think it just really hooks me into it. But yeah, it's the setup is very important, especially if you're watching it for the first time, you're being introduced to the story and it just doesn't work for you because of the way it's set up. I totally understand that.
You know what the romance reminds me of? And this is the dark place my mind went to when I was watching it. It's Ralph Fiennes' relationship to his servant girl in Schindler's List, the Jewish servant girl that he like owns, and like he has like a romantic infatuation despite the fact that he owns her as a human being, and it just like it makes you sick. It makes you real sick.
I haven't actually seen Schindler's List, so I wouldn't know the comparison.
Oh, hilarious comedy! Laugh a minute.
Yep, iconic.
That's what I've heard,
but no, it's real fucked up, and that's all I kept thinking about is like when Rail finds like you know we could be in a relationship, and then he just starts beating her because he owns her, and like if she's not reciprocal, I can do whatever I want.
Yeah,
and I'm
definitely.
like,
yeah.
Well, thankfully this doesn't go there, so
it doesn't because of the Disney of it all.
Yeah, like at least they knew to like soften the character once the two were actually like in love. Like he didn't do anything like awful to her at that point, which you know it's a start.
I mean, this thinks it's more like a Regency romance because like I feel like it feels more in line with something like Jane Eyre or Pride and Prejudice. Like they want him to be Mr. Darcy, but Mr. Darcy never owned a human being.
Yeah, I think if it was set up the way I think they in their minds thought it was set up, where it's like, hey, you have this noble person falls in love with a noble from a warring country, but when you add in the slavery element to it, it kind of falls apart.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's the key thing there. Because otherwise I can definitely see the story like kind of clicking, like you said. But yeah, it's uncomfortable the way it's set up right now.
And maybe we just didn't care about slavery in 2000. I don't know.
There's a lot of people today I'm not sure care about slavery.
I was 2 years old in 2000, so I had no idea what was going on and if anyone cared about slavery. So I don't know.
We were too busy worried about 9/11. That hadn't happened yet.
Exactly.
So this is the third ever Disney Broadway production. The first two were The Beauty and the Beast and Lion King, and this is their follow-up to Lion King. How does this sit as like I wish Disney would do more of these on one hand, but also it's so strange that they picked this to follow up what is the biggest moneymaker on Broadway ever, like as the Lion King. How does this sit among that?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like so weird. Like when I first found out Aida was a Disney musical, I was like, wait, what? Like it's like not connected to any other thing that they've done. It's like it deals with some heavy stuff. The ending is super depressing. It's like, yeah, I was just kind of surprised by that, and surprised that it did like as well as it did on Broadway. Like, because, yeah, obviously, like, Lion King, that's still running, of course, but, like, well, not right now because COVID. But, it's just, like, I don't know. It's so outside the Disney brands at first glance. But at the same time, I think I prefer that over, like, constant adaptations of...
Frozen, the musical!
Of movies, which I do not want to see. So it's like...
Was this the last, like, original product that Disney put out? Like ever?
I think.
on Broadway, I think so. Yeah.
Let me look up Disney theatricals really.
I think everything else is like an adaptation, which honestly, I would much prefer like original stuff coming out on Broadway.
Yeah, it's really a shame because Disney.
All this other stuff.
It's like Disney is hoarding all this money and creative resource, and they just pump it into the same projects over and over again. And like, well, I don't think this is amazing. It is nice that they did something original, you know. well, not a fully original. It's an adaptation of something else, but still something new that hasn't been seen.
Would
in the
we
past 10
count
years.
Peter and the Starcatcher as an original? Because apparently Disney Theatrical ran that.
Oh, really?
I did not know that until I looked this up right here.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know much about that one, so I'm not sure.
I mean, it's not a direct adaptation. It's like its own thing, so I'd count it. Same with the Mary Poppins musical adaptation, since they had to work with the Cameron McIntosh and P.L. Travers estate, so they had to adapt the books where they just used the Disney songs. And I hope to do that on this show one day, because that is an interesting adaptation, because it's like not at all the film. So
Disney Theatrics actually doing work. Look at that.
I mean, because legally they had to. But now we got to go on to our favorite segment of this entire podcast, everyone's favorite time, where we compare our opinions to those of the New York theater critics. It's time for Previews!
Am I correct here? We only have one review, and it's Ben
Yes,
Brantley?
we have one review, but I think Ben Brantley had a lot of interesting things to say.
He sure did. Sure did. Andrew, I want to thank you so much for not forgetting about the segment this week. I really appreciate it. Thank you for...
I just feel like I should be doing my Ben Shapiro for Ben Brantley here. I'm not
You're
sure.
more than welcome. Take it away,
Andrew,
Ben.
Do you want to try it as Ben Shapiro?
Please.
Ben's views!
Please, can we please try Ben's views this week?
It is Ben Brantley's views.
I need to hear the facts and logic, please.
Facts and logic. Pretty much everything that's right about Aida, the new Disney cartoon pretending to be a Broadway musical, can be summed up in 2 words. Heather Headley. Without Miss Headley, there would be nothing for grown-ups to focus on. Once they get past the visual jolt of Las Vegas arcade that is passing for ancient Egypt, the work of the eminent set designer Bob Crowley. My goodness. Sorry, I'm trying to read while doing the voice is a little bit more difficult than I anticipated.
You're almost there. You're halfway through.
Yeah. Like many Broadway mega musicals today, it has the disconnected, sterile feeling that suggests it has been assembled piecemeal by committee. Although it is the first Disney Broadway production not to be inspired by an animated film, it appears to be waiting for the greater destiny of translation into a cartoon. Although trimmed to 80 minutes and re-envisioned by Disney's crack team of animators, it could be a perfectly respectable children's movie, not like The Little Mermaid or The Lion King, but good at least as Aladdin or Tarzan.
That's some Tarzan erasure. I don't like that.
I think I just lost my spot here. Well,
That's Ben's views.
Ben's views. I bet Ben's views will have music.
No, it'll be that news bullshit he plays before his stupid ass
You know I'm gonna,
podcast.
you know I'm gonna add it in.
Does the Daily Wire put out reviews?
Yeah, why else do you think he was talking about WAP?
Wet ass P word.
Do we agree with Ben Brantley on that? Because I feel like that's a really diminutive opinion of this musical.
Honestly, that was very negative. I don't know, maybe it's just because I read it in that voice, but I felt like I was spitting fire here.
Is Miss Headley, is she hot? Is that why he says there wouldn't be anything for adults to focus on?
Ben Brantley's very gay.
I'm curious. He said grown up.
Bro, but is she hot?
Is she hot?
She is a beautiful woman. Yes, she is. And she does kind of rise above everyone else in this musical. I as much as I love everyone else in the show, like I like Adam Pascal, I like Sherry Renee Scott, but Heather Headley's on a different level.
Oh yeah, definitely. She was like, it's because I only watched the Broadway recording for the first time recently, and it's like I had no idea she was like that good in the role. I was like, oh my god, yeah, she totally deserved the Tony. It's like every line delivery just feels so like important coming from her. It's just like she has this like gravitas to like the way she delivers everything. She's just so talented in this. So yeah.
Then you got Adam Pascal coming in like, I'm a rock star, let's go.
Oh man. I mean, I like his singing at least, and it's like it's nice to see him in something that isn't Rent, because Rent is terrible. So
hey, we got one.
Is he the first one to agree with us on that?
Yes, he is.
Oh yeah. I hate Rent.
Most people like Rent. I feel like I am now discovering we are in a minority.
Oh really? I don't know. Most people I talk to don't like Rent, so
it's really just not. It's not great. I don't know. There's better musicals that cover the same topics better.
Like Falsettos.
Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong.
All right, guys, are we ready to go into a mid-show and then talk about the songs?
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good.
Hey, sorry to interrupt you in the middle of the show, but we've got a shill at you. Andrew, tell us about Patreon and who's supporting us.
Oh my goodness, Patreon is where you can go if you'd like to donate some money to us and also receive extra content. We have, oh my god, how quick do you want me to go? Okay, we have what do we have? The Muppets going on right now. We're gonna
Kind
put
of,
out,
I guess.
we'll probably be putting out the first one of those before this comes out. I assume we'll record that
Before
soon.
next week, yeah.
Yeah. And you also have the full Fosse Verdon podcast that we did up there. We also have commentaries that come out occasionally. We actually
For
did
Christmas, we're going to do a lot lot of commentaries. There's going to be
that's true. So there will be quite a few. There will be quite a few for December, kind of like how we did in October. Kind of taking a little break for Thanksgiving.
Also, we have our monthly Patreon meetup. We'll be doing one for December, early December. Get your seats in now.
Hell yeah! All right. Current patrons. Jess, you want to read this, or you want me to?
I'll read it. Our current patrons are Melissa Goldman, Terry Needleman, John Donna, Max Lunig, Lily Ackles, Peasant Chick, Jess the Stampede, and Cassidy, Taskier, Fire September, Monica Thoreau, Mina Miniri, Brent Black, Haley Murray, Allison Wonderman, B-Way Flicks, Nathaniel, Stacey Coombe, Joseph Evans Green, Carrie Ahern, Regale Dre Whiter, Christine Malmadel, Cole Birchfield, Mary Lou Choquette, John Vanals, Holly Stistically, Russ Walker, Musical Hell, Emily, Gracie, Andrew Van Barson, Emily Stack, Sablam, Kyle Summers, Janae C, Kyle, Christina Francis, Jess A, Skylar, Liz Lim, Corey Wilmarth, Allison Stellar, Nothing is Certain Except Beth and Taxes, Elizabeth, John Vanals, Lesbian, that was a Freudian slip if I ever had one, Ren Cullen, Wait in the Wings, Lady Malvolia, Spectacle Machine, Jacob Stroop, J Star or J Asterisk, Robert Benjamin, Rachel, and Jessica Tubis. They give us a little extra financial support that helps us keep the lights on here at Musicals with Cheese. If you would like to join them in supporting us and get tons of those fun perks that Andrew mentioned and a lot more, come join us over at Patreon. We also have merch, so go to our website, musicalswithcheese.com, click the merch button, buy our shit.
A lot of good stuff for Christmas, yeah!
Christmas is around the corner. You want to shove that shit in your relative's face. Make them a branding machine.
Buy that merch. All right, let's keep going.
Let's get back. We got songs to talk about. I don't know about these songs. Honestly, like that opening scene, every story is a love story from Aneris. That's a weird prologue. It is an off-putting opening.
Weather sweeping through the ages, casting centuries aside, or a hurried, brief recital, just a 30-minute ride, where the bridal melancholy, rough and ready, finely spun, where the width 1,000 players or a lonely cast of one.
Well, they got that like framing device to it with the people in like a museum, which is weird. They bring it back at the end. It doesn't really do much. I guess
it reminds me of Phantom of the Opera, where you have the raw old man going and finding the monkey, and then we just go back in time. We stay back in time.
Yeah, it's like, why is this even really here? But I mean, I guess it's kind of there to make the ending happier in a way. It's like, oh well, they reincarnated, found each other, I guess.
I don't know, that does it for me personally. Like I get it's schmaltzy, but like it really works for me. Like just the they're in the museum now.
It's fine. It's fine.
I don't know, I like the opening song too. I like the just the elegance leading up to it, and then the sudden like shift to rock. Like it is a bit jarring, I suppose, definitely, but like I don't know, I think for like a musical with like a lot of like kind of rock music in it, it's a bit of it is a jarring segue, yes, but I just enjoy how it transitions into how the stage like changes into the ancient Egypt, and then going over to Radames and his guys like singing the rock song. It's I don't know. I
don't really mind any of the music in this. Like I think it's really it's an Elton John show, and it kind of feels that way, and that's fine with me.
I mean, it's no Lestat, but what is?
Yeah, I think it works for me because I'm just a big Elton John fan. Like I love most of his music, and it definitely sounds very distinctly like him. So it's like more so than Lion King does, even, I feel like.
It's right in between Lion King and El Dorado, where El Dorado is just literally Elton John songs.
They just plop Elton John songs and put them in,
is like narrative. This is like almost both.
But yeah, I think that's a big reason why I just really get into the songs. I'm just a big fan of his musical style. And
I think this is a great album. Like, in and of itself, the cast album is just a good lot of fun to listen to, and you can turn it on. There's like a fucking bop every track.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure a musical makes from all those specific songs.
Right, yeah. That's totally fair, yeah. I feel like they really just hook me emotionally, and like they're a huge part of what makes the romance later on work, and like what makes I don't know, I get invested in like this like sort of rock version of ancient Egypt, which sounds stupid when I'm saying it out loud.
No.
I don't know. In the context of the show, I think it really works.
Technicolor Dreamcoat. Bingo.
Beat me there.
Yeah.
My favorite musical of all time, of course.
The sad part is he's only kind of joking.
Oh boy.
I mean, there's a commentary of us watching that, and it's I don't say anything. I'm literally laughing.
Andrew is just too much enjoying himself to like say anything about it.
Oh my god. Actually, I remembered something. I was thinking that earlier. Why is there always like a calypso song in every ancient Egypt musical? Because that had the Benjamin calypso, and then this has like another pyramid, which kind of has that vibe. It's like I don't know what the connection is. And
racism.
Like why, I guess. Oh no.
Is it though? I honestly, maybe it's just a coincidence.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe it's an actual coincidence.
Yeah.
Was there one in
Just
Prince
the
of
two
Egypt? Is there a calypso song in that?
No.
Dang.
So I think we're safe. Okay.
We're safe.
Okay.
It isn't racist.
Racism is stopped.
We
Hooray.
saved. We cured
solved
racism.
It's like the second time this podcast we've solved racism. Amazing.
Man, we're going full hairspray. We solved racism.
Nice.
Racism solved.
All right.
I want to talk about My Strongest Suit because I love this song. This is the one I've been re-listening to. It's the one that feels like the goofiest of this show.
This is the most fun that the show has, and I feel like I wish there was at least a few more like this.
Whether wig or hat or turban, whether clad boudoir or urban, not to strut your stuff outrageously is a crime. And the few who are invited to my wardrobe are delighted as they wander through my things to find out who that in negligee or formal I am anything but normal. That dress has always been my strongest suit.
I remember my director told the girls in Strongest Suit, have fun with this number because it's the only time in this show you're allowed to have fun. So it's like,
Which is sad, though.
With it. I mean, it's true, though. That's the sad part.
I get it that the other, like the main characters are in a really bad situation, but this character keeps showing back up. Why not have them have some more fun songs? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I like what they do with her reprise later on, where she's like, it's Strongest Suit reprise, and she's like kind of sad on the inside, and she's not surrounded by like her dresses or like all the people, and she's venting to Aida. Like, I like that, and it's like, but yeah, I feel like later on it would have been nice to have her have like another sort of happy song, maybe where she's like putting on another face for other people, like maybe at the Pharaoh's banquet. Like that would be nice, because Strongest Suit is such a bop. I would love more of that kind of vibe.
It introduces a promise that it doesn't keep, which is this character is going to be the most fun you're going to have. This is the King Herod, but you're with her the entire time, and she's not that, and that's fine.
I guess. I mean, I feel like she has her like funny moments like throughout the show, like less so in Act 2, but I feel like there's still some good funny moments in Act 1, like what I mentioned earlier with the scene where she's wants Radames to come into her bedchamber, like the rant she goes on. I really enjoy that. That's just Sherry Renee Scott, I think her name is.
Yes.
Like, I always get it wrong. Yeah, she like really sold the character, and I really enjoyed her in that role, just acting and singing wise.
And this is one of those. It feels like a song written especially to be performed on like the David Letterman show or at the Tonys to be like, "We're fun, promise. Come see it. Bring your kids."
Yeah. Yep. Bring your kids to watch everyone die.
Just the trailer showing all the funny jokes of the movie, and then you go watch it, and it's like, oh.
Oh no, this isn't funny at all. They're suffocating, mommy.
Oh no. Why did he get stabbed, mommy? What's going on? Oh no.
Oh, all right. I want to talk about Enchantment Passing Through because I don't know. This is like the first like Aida like Radamy's like moment, and it's really cute in a way.
Time and space to bind me.
And no horizon I could not pursue.
I leave the world's misfortunes far behind me.
I put my faith and trust in something new.
But why should I tell you this?
A stranger I just met.
A woman who I hardly know at all and should forget.
I like it. It's probably my least favorite of their duets because I really like the other ones a lot more. But like it's a nice little like introduction how they're like kind of lost in their own thoughts and like dreaming about like going sailing, and then they come back to reality. Like, yeah, it's a pretty like nice moment, I think.
Yeah, I now that you mention it, they do have a lot of like duets in this show.
They
like
do,
most of the show is power ballads between those two.
Well, that's kind of all this show is really it's just a love story. And so
But there's no change between the like songs, I don't think. I don't think any song is saying different things than the last song is.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, which is why I'm not that into this one, because I feel like Elaborate Lives later on just kind of does what this song does, but better.
Elaborates
I'm more
on
like invested in it. And then Written in the Stars is kind of like their big breakup emotional thing where they have to go their separate ways. So it's like those two on their own, I feel like are distinct enough, but like this one, I think this one being here kind of makes it feel like it's too oversaturated with like their love duets.
But also, let's not forget, this is the one they sing as they suffocate to death in the tomb.
yeah, so this is another reason not to like this one that much.
Yeah, or wait, no, I think now Elaborate Lives is the one they're singing in the tomb, like that. That's the one that gets reprised.
They sing.
Did they sing both of them?
They actually.
Oh wait, no, you're right. They sing a little bit of this one, but the most of it was Elaborate Lives. I don't know. It's pretty weird the way that worked. And I get these songs confused all the time because they're both like begin with the letter E, so it's just like I can't keep track of.
My name is Elton. All the songs start with E. Easy as life, Elaborate Lives, Enchantment Passing Through. Every story I love. Everyone's an E song. I'm Elton John.
Yep. You just had to do it.
Let's talk about Elaborate Lives then.
All right.
We all live in extravagant times, playing games we can't all win, unintended emotional crimes. Take some out, take others in.
Yeah, Elaborate Lives. I like this one. How it's just like, I don't know, the back and forth especially part is really nice. Like I don't want to live like that. They're both don't want to like live the way that they're like living right now, and they're just both like so like just want to start this romance and be free of all their problems. Like I don't know. It just the back and forth in the song just really works for me because of that, and it's like I don't know. I just find this one a lot more beautiful and a lot more emotionally powerful than Enchantment Passing Through, I guess.
No, I understand that. I feel like all these songs want to be the coolest song in the show, which I appreciate on one level, but it also leads to there not being a much diversity of sound.
Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like the love duets are kind of like in their own category where they sound similar. The songs in the Nubian camp definitely sound similar. Strongest Suit is just in its own category, like its own special bubble.
Yeah.
It's completely apart from the rest of the show. And then there's the Zoser songs, which are like hit or miss. Like I don't like the first one. I love the second one.
Right.
So it's like I feel like there's enough of a distinction depending on like which characters are singing. But yeah, I definitely see what you're saying as well. Like it definitely like there's not much like distinction like when there's so many similar songs to like any given song apart from like Strongest Suit.
We got to do one of the villain songs then. So we're gonna do like Father Like Son.
Let's go.
Like father, like son. Don't come on so cocksure, boy. You can't escape your genes. There's no point in feeling pure, boy. Your background intervenes. Now listen good and listen straight. You're not the master of your fate. To this you must be reconciled. You'll always be your father's child.
Yeah, this one's a bop. Like I love this one so much. Like, and it's I will fully admit that it's really not necessary for the plot. Like I just because Zoser isn't really necessary, but like at the same time, it just sounds so cool. Like just this back and forth between the two of them, this battle of ideologies. Like Rotami's rejecting him, sort of like rejecting like the whole Egyptian way in a sense. Like I don't know. I just really got into this one, which I was surprised by because I have no investment in the Zoser character whatsoever.
You have to have a bad guy. It's a Disney show.
It's Disney. You gotta
have either dead parents or evil parents. Those are your only choices.
Good thing there's no twist villain. I'm happy about that.
Oh, Aida. If only there was someone who loved you.
Oh, no.
Then he pushes the thing.
He pushes the tomb shut on her.
Oh, no.
The end.
Perfect.
We fixed Aida, guys.
We did it. It's a modern Disney. It's a modern Disney show now.
Disney called us. So many great ideas.
If only there was someone who loved you. That's such a bad line. I can't believe they did that.
Oh, God. Yeah. Oh, my God.
James, are you a Frozen defender?
No, not at all. It's fine. It's okay.
The fact that they don't redeem Hans in Frozen 2 pissed me off.
Yeah. Oh man, they should have just brought him back. Like it'd be weird to just bring him back out of nowhere. But like honestly, why not?
He was in the Frozen Spring one where he was shoveling shit, and
he did get a cameo in that.
He also got a cameo in Frozen 2.
He did.
Oh yeah, it's like a ice sculpture guy. Yeah.
It was more just to remind everyone that remember him? He sucks, right?
Yeah. Honestly, I forgot like 90% of what happened in Frozen 2. It was not memorable.
I remember watching Frozen 2 and being like, shit, I'm an adult and I didn't understand what the hell I just watched. How are kids going to react to this?
Now, the plot of Frozen 2, that's just like, right, that's the plot. Like
the plot is she goes to follow a voice. She ends up in a voice hole. She sees her mom and then
she gets frozen.
She becomes
the title drop. There we go.
But she also rides a water horse.
Yeah.
That she just knew would be. That movie's fucking confusing.
There's a magic gust of wind. There's an action figure.
There's a fire salamander. I'm into that.
Yep.
There's a lot of ideas. Have either of you watched the Frozen 2 like 9-hour making of series on
Yes,
Disney Plus?
I actually made a video about that. It's baffling to me that they managed to go that far without thinking of the plot. Like what would happen in the movie. Like, oh my God.
I'm not gonna lie, the tweet I wrote out right after it finished was, that felt like a 9-hour apology for the movie.
Yeah, pretty much.
Guys, we're really, really sorry that Frozen 2
This is why it happened, though.
Make any
we
sense.
had good ideas, but here's what happened.
Oh my God.
Our director was also the head of the entire animation department of Disney, and then still tried to direct the film, so she was strung too thin and no one was doing their jobs.
Yep. Oh man, I feel bad for them. Like they clearly wanted to make it good, but then no.
I
They
love
just didn't have enough time.
Christy Anderson Lopez and Bobby Lopez every time they're called up to like, and they're like,
Yeah.
what is Elsa's goal? Like, what is she
the
going
plot
after?
of
And
this movie?
And then she's like, well, it's just the metaphorical idea of like, this voice and it's calling her. No, we need a concrete goal for this character.
What are we writing songs about?
Is it literally her mother?
Into
Is
the
it
unknown.
Something else?
Into the unknown. That's
my
what she
God.
wants.
Yeah. Frozen 2 is bad.
Frozen
but you know
2 should have been Han's redemption. That's all it should have
There we
been.
go. It
It should have just been all about Hans killing
No other
every
characters.
He killed the 11 brothers in front of him, and him doing so. I'd watch that movie.
No,
Yes,
Hans comes
please.
back and is like, magic made me be evil. I was actually good the whole time.
Yep, it was the rock trolls. They were
The
hypnotizing
fucking
him.
rock trolls,
I've said
really?
this for years. It all makes sense.
I truly buy that theory, 100%.
Yes, please believe me, Disney. Please use that in Frozen 3.
Yes.
Oh man.
So, written in the stars.
Yeah.
Is it written in the stars? Are we paying for some crime? Is that all that we are good for? Just a stretch of mortal time? Or some god's experiment in which we have no say? In which we're given paradise, but only for a day.
All right. This one I really like. Like, I think there's a reason like it became its own like popular single. Like, it's just really pretty and just like really good. I think it's the best duet between the two of them. I just like, I don't know. It's very like poetry-esque in like the lyrics, so maybe not the best fit for their situation, but it's such good poetry that it really hooks me regardless. And plus I think that's a lot of the reason why it works as its own single. But like obviously we're just in the context of the musical, I think it still works, like surprisingly. Like I wasn't expecting to like it to work for me as well as it does, given how like kind of vague the lyrics are, but I just think there's such good, strong lyrics that it hooks me anyway. Plus the music as well.
Can I say a hashtag controversial opinion?
Oh, no.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
This song reminds me of Frank Wildhorn. Meaning that it's just a pop song thrown in as an 11 o'clock number, and it could be literally about anything.
Yeah, I can
I
see
mean,
that.
as a love song, though, I mean, most pop songs are just love songs, essentially, so.
Yes, but the thing that makes, like, my favorite love song in all Broadway theater is the proposal from the Jane Eyre musical, which is uber specific in everything it's trying to do. Like, and I think specificity is what makes things really work in a storytelling context. And if you're just like general, I love you because the world says we should love each other. Like, I love Miss Saigon. Every love song in that musical is very generic and samey.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Yeah, it's like I can totally see this song not working for like everyone because like yeah, the fact that it is like this huge pop single like on the side is just like yeah, should show you that might be where some of Elton John's priorities were when he and I believe Tim Rice were writing it. But yeah, it still really works for me. Just like the idea of like this cosmic fate, like this God's experiment, like it just tonally, I think the lyrics like fit with the show and like what it was going for. So it's like, I think that's why it like works for me.
You know, Jess, sometimes the people in the audience just want to hear a big pop number, okay? Can you let them have it?
that.
Can you let them have it, okay?
Did I say this was a bad song? I just said it reminded me a little bit of Frank Wildhorn.
Well, you know, we have a Frank Wildhorn stan lobbying for him at all times towards us, giving us money.
Giving us money so we can talk about him. Because God knows we wouldn't talk about him if they didn't.
So that's all I can say. Frank Wildhorn, we have to say nice things about him.
No, we don't.
The lobbyists have won.
I mean, I like Written in the Stars, and I also want to backtrack a little bit, something I didn't bring up. Tim Rice is a controversial figure in Broadway, meaning that people often love him and often hate him, and they're often the same people. Meaning, I love a lot of his lyrics and a lot of shows he does, and then in other ones, he is not even trying.
Yeah.
This one I think he does very good in. I think he ends up looking pretty good in, because I think after working with him on Lion King and seeing the big push that is, and I think a lot of the lyrics in Lion King are pretty bad. I think he really brought his A game here, and sadly it just gets drowned out in all the rest of the things. But when there's good lyrics, you don't really notice them. But if there's bad lyrics, oh, you notice them. So credit to you, Tim Rice. Good job.
Nice.
Is there any other big numbers we want to talk about? I know there's I know the truth from Anaris, but that's just kind of a downer.
This is kind of filler. I'd love to talk about God's Love Nubia, because that's like one of my favorites.
Let's
go. God's love Nubia, their glorious creation. The songs roll sweetly across the harvest plain. The tears of Nubia, a passing apparition. They wash into the river and they never cried again.
It's really just has this nice, like, uplifting, like, hopeful sound to it, like this, like, almost gospel like vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's amazing as an Act 1 ender.
Closer.
Just especially the part where just the music just cuts out and it's just them singing. Like it honestly makes me like tear up like almost every time I listen to it. I'm just like so invested in that song.
And it gives you a nice, like, little bit of a to be continued for Act 2, because they're like, here's our plan, this is what we're going to do, this is what's going to happen, and oh shit, I'm ready, let's go. Act 2, bring it on, in the best sort of way.
Yeah, for sure.
It's the peak of the roller coaster, as you said in your metaphor earlier.
Yeah, basically, like that the very peak is the like Act 1 finale, and then like the beginning of Act 2, I also really like. It's like the dip, and then like the part where everyone dies. That's just the bottom. That's just it. The whole roller coaster was just one like incline and then decline, and that's
pretty lame roller coaster, but
true. Yeah,
that's the Top Thrill Dragster at Cedar Point. It's just one big hill.
No, because that has like the boost at the bottom though. Like that's kind of.
You're still at the bottom though. Whether you're going up high or low, you're still at the bottom.
Yeah, but nobody rides Top Thrill Dragster for the hill. They
that's
ride
literally
it for
all it is.
No. It has the really fast acceleration thing. I don't know.
But you know what else, folks? What is our overall thoughts on Aida and our cheese rating? I'm gonna make James go first.
Let me think. Okay, let me just look something up.
I'm gonna make Andrew go first.
What?
All right.
This is unfair.
All right. Sorry, I just have to make sure I got the right cheese.
No.
Okay. All right, I got this. So I'm gonna give it a Rumi, which is a cheese from Egypt. It has a sharp, salty flavor and a pungent aroma, which, you know, sometimes this show is very sharp in terms of the deaths and stuff. It's kind of pungent in some of the stuff that like doesn't work. But you know what? At the end of the day, it's a good cheese that is that matures for a while, and I think it's got a lot of maturity to it, and I have no idea how it tastes, the cheese in real life, but I'm gonna assume it's a pretty good cheese, and I like it because I like this show, even though it has its fair share of problems, and yep. That's my rating, I guess.
Hey, it can only get better is the thing. Like, that's the thing about Broadway that not a lot of other media, like a film, and when it's done, it's done. You can't, like, fucking Francis Ford Coppola make The Godfather 3 again and say it's a new film. But Broadway, anytime you revive it, or it's a living object that'll change and adapt and get better with every year. Like, every production of a new Broadway show is usually better than the last one because time, effort, different opinions, and all that. So that's why it's great. Broadway's great. Andrew, your thoughts and your cheese rating.
You know, I didn't dislike or really like this show. I kind of just don't have very strong opinions about it. And it's kind of a boring thing to say, but I kind of felt like this show was a little bit boring for me. I wasn't able to get fully invested in the romance, which is kind of the entire show. But I feel like a lot of that is the setup. I don't think the music is bad, which is why I'm not saying this is a bad show. And I think the music is kind of holding up everything else and kind of raising it up to a level where it's like, well, it's not bad. I just don't like love it. I'm gonna give it shankless cheese because I think that sounds funny, and it is also from Egypt. And shanklish is just a funny word.
You know what? You've sold me. Brie, how was our discussion? Like, what's your cheese rating for what we talked about?
Well, as always, it was a wonderful discussion. I am going to give you not just a cheese, but a raisin bread grilled cheese. That is Elton John's favorite comfort food.
Ooh.
And your conversation was a little savory and a little sweet at times.
Like
so
grilled cheese.
that is what I will give you.
I kind of want a grilled cheese now.
Thanks, Brie.
I'm honestly hungry.
You might have just stole
You're
my
welcome.
cheese rating, so now I gotta think for a second.
Oh.
So,
Well,
I thought Aida was pretty good. I think it's gonna age very well. I think this new production coming in 2021, if Broadway opens in
2022.
2023, maybe, you never know.
2030, you know.
I'm sure it will come out eventually.
Yeah. Sometime.
But I really enjoyed the cast album a lot. Like, I think that's a great listening experience. Every song on here, like, though they are not all created equal, you enjoy listening to every one of them. I like the specific framing of Heather Headley and Adam Pascal. Their voices do not sound like they should go so well together, and yet they really, really do. They are great. There's some great performances here, and really, it's a lot of fun. So maybe you should check out the album, and if you like that, maybe see the 2029 production whenever it comes out.
I think the show will only go uphill. I think Jess is right. It's going to get better, but
So.
Yeah.
My cheese rating is Parmesan risotto, another part of Elton John's cheesy recipe collection, which apparently he has a lot of.
Oh, wow.
I mean, Elton
I
John
like
is
risotto.
Elton John is kind of a physical embodiment of cheese. So
He is, though, yeah.
The cheesiest man alive.
Yep.
But you know who is not the cheesiest man alive?
sadly, not me.
Yeah, not you. It is James. James.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. I want you to promote all your stuff out there. Tell everyone where they can find your stuff.
All right, yeah, thank you so much for having me. So you can find me on YouTube at Schaffrillas Productions. I talk about a lot of stuff like movies and video games and sometimes musicals. I want to make more musical videos in the future, so check me out there. I also go to Twitter at Schaffrillas, and yeah, I mean, that's about it. So, yep. Thank you so much again for having me.
I want to personally recommend his Hades Town video, which is very, very, very good. And personally, I want to recommend the Hunchback of Notre Dame video, which was my first video and my jump into that world. I'm like, someone else is talking about this damn musical. Thank God.
Yep. Thank you so much. Yeah, those are my only two musical related videos so far, but I promise I will make more.
I want to recommend his Megamind content because Megamind is phenomenal. Maybe the greatest movie of all time.
Yes. Cannot argue with you there.
I want to recommend his Shrek the Fourth content
Because
where
it's
he
so good.
defends how good Shrek 4 is.
Yes, indeed. All right, I'm going to go ahead and recommend every other video I've ever made in alphabetical order. So let's just start.
Just start listing them off. Let's go.
All right. We got another 3 hours here.
All right.
But no, sadly, we just want to thank all the people out there for listening. You guys are wonderful, and our patrons especially. You guys are keeping Bree employed. It's great. We love you all so much. Please follow us on Twitter at Cheesy Musicals. Leave us a review on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher at Musicals with Cheese. Our Patreon is Musicals with Cheese. Our Instagram, YouTube page, and all that is all Musicals with Cheese. We have a patron-only podcast. Currently, we're talking about the Muppets, and that's a good lot of time. Shoot us an email at musicaltheaterlives@gmail.com. We love them very, very much. We love those emails.
We do, though. We actually do.
Yes, they're very, very nice. Our transcriptions are done by Masha Litvinova. She is wonderful, and we're so happy to have her as a part of our team. Our title card was created by the amazing Jolene Casco. Follow her on Instagram at Jolene Casco. Our keeper of the cheese, who records all of our cheese ratings, is Juliet Antonio. This show is produced by the amazing, the wonderful, the sweet Brianna Jones. And put the applause here for you. Thank you to the Broadway Podcast Network for having us on the platform and for not kicking us off for talking about suffocating slaves.
I mean, that's a Broadway show. They can't kick us off for that.
If Disney approves it, I guess they have to.
It's not my slave.
It's Disney. They're the white slavers. George Lucas told me.
George Lucas, the white slavers.
James, is there anything else you want to say before we call it a day?
No, I think that's good. So, thank you again for having me.
Let's end enslaved people. We gotta get them out. We gotta
All right,
get
James.
them out of
get back in the dungeon and start working on the next video I'm not going to pay you for.
All right, sounds good.
All right, we'll see you guys next time on Musicals with Cheese.